Okay. So, I was thinking it is time for me to go ahead and make the video I keep talking about making, which is how to make your homebrew campaign world and how to make it easy, how to make it player focused for a couple of reasons. Player focused in a way that cuts the workload on you. I know that as a dungeon master, something that seems overwhelming is like all the world building and all the preparations and like how am I going to make a plot that players are interested in and like all that kind of stuff. It's much easier than you might think it would be from like an outside perspective when you haven't done it before. Or even if you've done it a couple of times and you want to have somebody else's perspective. How's it going? So I'm going to use a couple of little tools that are 100% free for you. The only thing that's, I guess, not free is I have this little like drawing pad thingamajig. Even that is on the cheap. So, and you don't need it. Paper and pencil is usually how I do it. I like to get these little drawing pads. Are usually like you can get them on sale for like $5 at like the art store kind of thing. And I grab them when they're on sale for $5 because they are my preferred thingamajig to have all my campaign stuff in. But we will show you with Microsoft Paint. I don't know how we're going to get it any cheaper than that. So, I'm going to be on Paint, and I have the Donjon random generator for 5th edition. Might hop over to other things, but you can just go here. I'm just using NPCs to kind of mimic the data or the input you would get from your players. So, like, I just go NPCs, default culture, any gender, any race, adventurer class. You can also go NPC class or any class, depending on what you want to do. It's just a random generator. Like I said, if I had players here giving me their character inputs, which I might do this again when I next time I'm starting a campaign, and get these inputs from the actual players and show you again. So this is kind of our first run through. We might scroll down. Let's see. This particular generator doesn't have location names, so I will probably go into like the general or the fantasy tab that are off to the side. Go to Donjon. It's a great resource. Kick them a cup of coffee or something at some point. And it's, it's solid. It solves a lot of your preparation problems where you're like, oh, what kind of treasure should be there? You're like, go to the random treasure generator. A couple items in there you don't like, tweak them. Make unique items, make it unique to the thing. All that kind of stuff. So, let's start. So, here's what we're going to do. NPCs, just to generate characters. Generate. Here we go. So, we'll do a 4-character campaign. 4 PCs. So here I've got a barbarian, a fighter, a monk, and a warlock. Cool. The stats aren't important, all that kind of stuff. This is just how we're getting started. What you do... Oh, I gotta pull up. I gotta have actual paint up on the screen here. Otherwise, I won't be able to see it. So, what you're gonna do... Ooh, come on. There we go. Here we go. So this is my like blank piece of paper, right? I'm gonna put dot. Come on, there you go. There we are. A dot. We'll just say, come on. I haven't used this thing in a while. Wow, why is that so weird? Alright, make it big, there we go. And we'll do, why is this not doing what I want? There we go. Okay, so, I've got the 4 dots for the 4 characters. We've got, Winna, our female human barbarian. What is going on here? Come on, you were supposed to make this easier. Markov. We have our female gnome monk, Benarv. There we go. Alright, I feel like it just like ran an update or something. No, it's fine. There we go. Okay, so WEKB. So we have our 4 players. They are going to tell us the city that they are from. They could be from, say, an island or something, and that's fine. So let's say Winna is a female human barbarian. They're from a. Let's see if it'll let me write. We'll go into Donjon here. Let me just add a new tab, and we'll get back into Donjon. Fantasy. Random town generator. Oh wait, that's like a map you can generate. Random inn generator. This thing's got a lot of great random generators. Random dungeon generator. You don't have to draw a map. There you go. There's random adventure generator. My random campaign. Can't stress enough that you can totally make a randomized campaign and get playing right away. Now, here we've got names, and we can go into fantasy setting, and you can get adventure parties. Or what I'm looking for is more towns and cities. So, one thing I should cover. The whole reason you would do this, for me, I don't run adventure modules. I've been DMing for 20 years. I've never run a module. That's not a sense of like superiority or anything. It's totally respectable to get a module and run it. Most people advise people to run a module for their first campaign. I have a problem. I've tried to read through modules, and I just can't do it. I just can't wrap my head around someone else's lore and someone else's campaign that they're creating. I can't keep my head just wrapped around what's happening. I'm pretty good at improvising at this point, and I'm more comfortable just having our own world that they're invested in through this process that we're going through, and all of that. So no disrespect towards anybody that wants to like be like, oh, we're doing a Dungeons of Mad Mage campaign. I'm like, hey, cool, good for you. I know the Barovia or whatever the Chrysostrad, that's the one. People find it very popular. I've heard some things on it, seen a couple videos, people that run it and enjoy it, and it sounds cool. It sounds like a fun campaign. It sounds like interesting world building and all that. I don't know that I could keep all the characters and stuff straight. So I exclusively do my own campaigns that I create on the fly. And this is kind of the best way that I've seen to do it. So we've got some random towns and cities. New Wildazar. So let's see if this pen will start working. I don't know why it is doing that. Let's see if I can quick access. There we go. Is this the issue? Am I not hitting the buttons right? That's the issue. It's because I haven't used this in a while. Wow. Null. It's now called null. Enough of these technical issues. Nul Nar. Nul Nar, the exalted city of Krelea. Oh man, it's even harder if you don't actually look at what you were writing. Krelea. My goodness. I'm frustrated calling it Crow. And then this will be the city of Bold. The city of May. All right, this has gone poorly. The process, I promise, is much easier than this pen is making it seem to be. All right, so we have each player gives you a city. Now that we have each city, they give you the player will give you the surrounding topography, the surrounding like map features, or landscape features. So our player that is from Null might tell us that there's there are mountains to mountains to the west, that it's nestled next to a mountain range or something. So you are then, man, this pen is just, you get something for a specific purpose, and then you get frustrated because you don't use it for like 3 months, and then you get frustrated because it's not working the way you wanted. So anyways, paper, much easier. Mountains to the west, river to the south. There's I don't know, plains to the north. Let's do our plains like this. Well, now it's working just fine. And then we'll say a large lake or something. There we go. So there's a large lake. Get rid of that random line. There's a large lake to the east of Null. There's plains and all that, and it has like a river running through. All right. The player from Nar might say like, oh, well, it's a city on a hill, and it's surrounded by just forests. Where? Come on, buddy. It's got forests on the like fully surrounding the west and the south. So we just kind of set up our forests. That they've got a river to the north, and then desert bordering the forest going off to the east or something. That's ending up looking like forest again. Scratch that. They're surrounded by forest. They got a river to the north. So, and so you'll do this all the way around. You'll do this for each player, and you'll just set it up. Now, what you can do is you don't have to set these points first. You'll have this data first, and then you'll kind of put them in ways that make sense. Because one thing that could make sense is the person from Null who has a river to the south. What if that river kind of curves around and connects and goes past Nar? And so that would look like, whoop, there you go. So that connects to that, and it kind of continues off this way. And then the person from Kral is maybe like a pirate island or something. So it's an island out in the ocean, and so this river kind of empties out into that ocean. And then now you've got kind of the outline of your land mass at this point, right? They're on an island out in the ocean. This river kind of goes out to the ocean, and then you work in there, kind of thing. Like if they wanted like a mountain range on their, they just said a mountain range to their east, you just put them over here, right? Come on, man. Come on, pen. Subtitle of this will be Technology Frustrations. My goodness. There we go. So you would just put May, the city of May, over in this dot over here, And the mountains that they wanted off to their east, you just have them over here, and those are the same mountain range here. So you tie in everybody's topography, and you end up with a map of the region that they're in. And if somebody wants to be from like a far-flung area, you can put that out way off the side. But this is basically the idea. You have them give you topography that surrounds their origin point, and then you use that to generate your campaign map. And you go in and you fill in things like, well, it would make sense to me for there to be, a reclusive wizard tower at the curve of the river, and there's some like, wizard chicaneries that cause the river to unnaturally change directions, and so that's why there was desert over here, because it's actually not a natural place for there to be that much moisture. And maybe there is maybe the lands on this side over here are like goblin bugbear, kind of lands, and there's a large fortress for them, and they've gone in and mechanically altered the course of part of the river, causing it to also, stream off to this side. So you have the river that kind of didn't used to come through this area at all, has since, with wizard stuff and goblin stuff, changed that. So you go in, you add little elements that you think of, and your campaign map will be done. It doesn't need to look super pretty, as this does not. Hopefully I'll learn how this works. But you'll have a frame of reference that you can then build off of and make your campaign. And all these features being tied together just create points of reference for characters to connect with each other and make sense why they're familiar with each other and moving around. They're like, I spent my summers on the lake, and then whoever's from NAR is like, oh yeah, I spent my summers on the river doing a lot of fishing and stuff. One time when I was a kid, there was I saw an old paddle come by. It's like, oh, one time when I was a kid, we crashed the boat and we lost a paddle. I'd be like, whoa, and create those connections. Now, you can imagine doing this basically the same thing for your plot points. So that's something we should do. I don't know how much I want to keep messing with this pad because it is not cooperating. So let's do that. Let's zoom out a little bit. So let's take this, and I'm just gonna shrink it down to 50%. Do that, just so it's kind of out of the way. All right. Ooh, that text is big. There we go. I don't know if that'll be readable. Split the diff. Split the diff some more. Alright, that's probably fine. So our character, who had the W, I will ask players for 2 NPCs, a friend and a foe. Fairly straightforward, right? Friend and a foe. Let's head over to Don John. So let's go back to our NPC generator. Random generator. We'll go NPCs, and these friend and foe. I don't like when NPCs that players come up with are character classes. I think it's kind of like it's somewhere between like a hat on a hat and like just not being that relevant. We don't need that much detail. We don't need to know that your girlfriend is or was a wizard adventurer before they started being a homemaker. We can just say like a magic user, a mage, or whatever is fine. So NPC classes, and like honestly, like even magic user um, partners that are back home is kind of like a I don't know. It's you're it's fine. You can do it if you want, but it smacks of like a I can go home to my wizard fiance, right? Who will totally identify these items because she's a wizard and be like, you're hacking. You're trying to hack the system here. You're uh, entertainer, servant, merchant, something like that. It's kind of fine, but try to keep character classes to the characters. I'm gonna double check that y'all could even see this. Yeah, it's fine. So here we go. We've got Harry, the craftsman. I'm just gonna do some copy paste action. Keep this real simple. So their friend will be Hetty, a female human craftsman. Craftswoman, I guess, but auto generators are auto generators. Let's get the foe. This will be the next one. Lysil, a female dragonborn peasant. Ooh. Kind of interesting. Here we are. Lysil, female dragonborn peasant. Cool. Harry, a craftsman, and then a peasant. And let's remind ourselves of who this W is. This is Wyna, the female human barbarian. So the barbarian has a friend who's a craftsman and a foe who's a peasant. It sounds like Harry is maybe like the forager for the weapons that Wyna would be using. So it makes sense that they're friends. Maybe tests out some of the weaponry and whatnot. Give this axe a couple swings, make sure it holds together. All right, cool. We'll put it on the sale. And then there's Lysil, who's this dragonborn peasant, has probably stolen from the friend here and is kind of worse off. Or maybe, or you could play it the other way around, where the friend is your friend, but technically they're being kind of the jerk about it, and the craftswoman has like a pretty successful weapons business, and the peasant is trying to get by, and Harry doesn't like that the dragonborn peasant is hanging out around the shop, kind of thing. So there's sort of they butt heads, and because Harry's your friend, you also butt heads with this dragonborn peasant, and it's just a confrontational relationships getting set up there. That can inform a bunch of character decisions on something you're kind of trying to play out, and the character arc you want to play out for Wyna and whatnot. Let's get Erkoth figured out, and then we'll kind of show how stuff can tie together. So, Erkoth, which was our male human fighter. Let's get the friend and the foe. Okay. So let's go back to the other random generator. Remembering which screen is on which side. There we go. Ellet Payne, the female halfling aristocrat. Okay. I haven't looked at the next entry yet to see what the foe is going to be. And Brishto, a male elf entertainer. And then, as a reminder of who our characters are, Erkoth, male human fighter. Okay, so. Oh. Dual screens, so confusing. Okay, so Erkoth has a friend who is a female halfling aristocrat and is a fighter. It would make sense if the player character was like basically did like bodyguard work for Ellet. Um, and then an easy foe thing is this Berchto, um, had a hookup with Ellet, who's, a friend of Erkoth, and then, like, did the leave in the middle of the night, didn't call, didn't leave a note, um, kind of took advantage and then left, and hurt, like, the reputation of Ellet a little bit. And so there's obviously that's a confrontational kind of thing, and Ellet is an aristocrat in the area, probably is fine on security kind of thing, and now Erkoth is, has this hostility towards this male elf entertainer. Now, the thing I like to do is have one player, like our Wyna W up here, and Erkoth, that they try to tie into one of the other players' NPCs. One of their NPCs. It could be the foe or the friend. Doesn't super matter. It would make sense to me if Erkoth as a fighter has a relationship with Heri, the human the craftswoman, up in Null, and so Erkoth goes up to Null to get, like, a specialized sword that was being crafted, or like a masterwork piece or something that needed repair, and Erkoth is needing to go get that sword. Maybe it's a, like, mastercraft magic sword kind of thing, and so it can't be completed until you go get, MacGuffin material B. And so that's Erkoth's tie-in to have their reason to have a relationship with another location and another NPC. Likewise, we could have Wyna has maybe a relationship with Erkoth's foe, this male elf entertainer. Maybe Wyna is not judged for her hookups. There's no polite society that she's trying to impress. She does what she wants, but still doesn't like somebody pulling a same kind of thing where they like hook her up and ditch kind of thing. And so she wants to go, like, track him down and be like, hey, you gotta, like, if you're gonna do this, you should be pretty straightforward. You should be telling them, like, hey, I'm leaving in the middle of the night. If that's what you're doing, fine. If you're honest about it and she's cool with it, then you're, it's all Gucci, as the kids say. So now Wyna has a connection with the NPC for Erkoth, and has a drive and a goal. Wants to go find this elf entertainer, which Erkoth also wants to do. Is like, hey, they, no pun intended, screwed over my friend, and I'm not gonna end them or anything, but you're gonna, like, go track them down and be like, hey, you need to be a lot more straightforward. You need to be a lot more honest on these relationships that you're having. People can get their feelings mixed up and get hurt, and that's not cool. So now I'm gonna use the mouse for this because this other thing has been frustrating. So now Wyna has a connection with this foe that has a connection with Erkoth. Erkoth has a connection with their friend. There is now a reason for these two different player characters, for the characters to have a connection and have a reason to, like, link up and then go adventuring together. Be like, oh, you're friends with the craftsman. Yeah. Hey, this jerk who screwed over my friend? You're like, hey, they screwed over my friend. And now they both have a reason to adventure together. This is a little bit both, like, back and forth because we just did the two. But we can do it with more, obviously. Well, let's add that in. So for Banarv, our female gnome monk, Um, B over in Crowl. Get their friend. Get their foe. Learn how computers work. There we are. And we'll just go down this list. So, a male elf servant. Cool. Love it. And these would make a lot more sense because they are not they won't be randomly generated. They'll be from the imagination of your player characters. Now, some of them might decide to use their imagination by going to a random generator to give you this information, but hey, there you go. So, friend, Annalear, male elf servant, and their foe, Erig, female dwarf merchant. So, let's reconsider these. So let's not do the back and forth there. Let's do a 3-person party with connections to folks. And I'll do this in a really kind of an organized way that it wouldn't work that way exactly, but just to make it simple. Come on. I could probably resize this and make it easier, huh? Okay, so we're going to say... Wina has... Or Wina, or however we read that particular name. Wina has a relationship with the friend of Erkoth. Erkoth has a relationship with the friend of Barnov, and then Barnov has a relationship with the friend of Wina. So everybody kind of knows everybody's person. So Wina knows the aristocrat. Wina the barbarian has probably done work for this aristocrat before, and knows that they're in a tight spot coin wise. They know that they've always got work. They got the ins on all the kingdoms mercenary work. Being like, all right, I know I can go over there and have something going on there. Erkoth knows Annalear, the male elf servant. Now, why does this male human fighter have a relationship with this elf servant? They used to be friends. They could just be old, childhood friends. This, an elven servant has maybe hundreds of years of experience, is an upper echelon type person, and if you're a professional fighter, you could be sort of like a knight a type where you are well known and well respected, and the servant, maybe you were the brawn and they were sort of the brains or the face, growing up. Or you were growing up and they were kind of an adult, so maybe you back them up in various fights and stuff they've had over the years. And so you guys are buddies. And, he gives you ins and outs on the comings and goings of, the high-class society, which is where kind of the money is, and where you're going to want to link up to get some of that gold. And Barnov knows the female human craftswoman. So Barnov, the gnome monk, knows a craftsperson because Barnov has a little bit of an adventurer history, and goes out and finds rare materials and needs to deliver those over to Hurry. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. And that's their kind of link, because they're like, hey, and they've just got a good relationship, more than a business relationship. Like, they bring over opals or coral or little gemstones and things from around, little knickknacks, the expensive gildings on swords and stuff. The monk has no need for them, and so kind of gathers them up, and then is always makes sure to stop by and pass them off over to Hurry. And so you could see these people all kind of running into each other, where they're like, well, this aristocrat knows, where the fights are, where the money is, and go, oh, hey, yeah, oh, also, Wina's like, oh, also, I know of a friend of mine who's a monk who's lives over in Crawl, and they are kind of an expert on finding all these little, bits and bobs and bringing them over for crafts work. And then there you go. You have everyone kind of tied in together. You could do the same thing with the foes kind of thing. But this is kind of what you do. Or this is what I do anyways. Or what I've been doing recently, where I, as a dad with a couple of kids, your time is precious, and so you don't want to spend hours and hours and hours compiling a huge, a novel. Like, if you're writing a novel, cool, write a novel, but if you're prepping a D&D game, you don't necessarily need all that. Just, there you go. I haven't even gotten to the other person. We'll just say, hey, sorry, we're only doing 3 players in this game. And then, there you go. Here you go. All set. And, yeah, there you go. You can still have little subplots like, this elf entertainer screwed over Ellet. They're just a real jerk. And it's just like, oh yeah, I heard they like to, they do their hookup or whatever, and then they steal the valuables out of the house and abscond in the middle of the night. They just use their wiles to get in, these higher priced areas, and then swipe stuff, and they sell it over to Eric, the dwarf merchant that lives out on that island, where there's trade coming in and out. And it's like, hey, okay, they took something really expensive. I need you to go hunt them down. Hey, go check with Benarv, who happens to be in town and is from there. So pick them up, and they can help you go hunt that thing down. And there you go. You got your campaign. It's all there. It'd be on like one. It'd be on 1 or 2 pages of your notebook that you're keeping track of everything in, and that's valuable for me. I lose track of more than I'd like, and so having it on an easy reference like that is very handy. And more importantly, you don't have to worry about your pen technology that you kind of lost track of for a few months, forgot how it works, not working the way you expected. So, I look forward to doing this again with actual players, with actual actual ideas on that. This is a really cool thing for session 0. I know that sounds weird because usually you'll have your session 0 on Friday, and then the following Friday you start the game proper. You go through all the safety tools, and you go through all of the expectations and things you like and don't like in your world. Character building and all that kind of stuff. That's all great to go over on session 0, and it's important for people making their characters. If you have a house rule where you want to use intelligence modifier for initiative, then you should tell your players about that, so when it comes to making the character, they know ooh, I kind of imagine my character being really, really quick on initiative and really quick thinking, so I should probably prioritize their intelligence instead of their whatever other second or third highest stat they were thinking of doing, to fit their character better if they want to do that, or if they mechanically just like having high initiative. So I hope that makes some sense. It's a little awkward with a random generator, just because they would make more sense. Wait, who? What? Oh, a gift of Gabby finished homebrew race. Sorry, I had to have my my paint reference screen up instead of my my OBS where I can see the chat. So didn't see the chat alert there. Um, so there you have it. You make a whole homebrew campaign purely off of player inputs. You don't need to read through your campaign module. You don't need to sit preparing in isolation for hours at a time. I can't see what my time frame is at, but there we go. Not sure how long I've been doing this, but went slow because of technology issues. But you've got a campaign map, a how these characters are related, which gives you plot points, and that's even more true because now, hey, we got our plot points. You all, this foe is going to this foe, and so this is our plot point. Ooh, I'm gonna use this because the idea of writing with the mouse sounds awful. Hunt down Rishto. He stole from Ellet. Selling heirloom to Ereg in Crawl. Our first two characters know each other. Know each other through Ellet and Hetty. Recruit that character to guide them through Crawl. And there's even the and W knows B through Harry. There you go. That's a whole campaign. You're ready to go. There's not a ton else to it. I mean, everything after that is going to be, you know, you can literally. I usually like Kobold Fight Club just because I've been using it for a long time. But you can actually go back into your random generator encounters. You have 3 PCs at level 1. We'll say, let's do some easy. Let's look back at our map. So, and if they're probably in Nar when they meet up, and then they're gonna head down to Crawl. So they're gonna maybe go along the river. What would we call that? Let's start with like an urban encounter. So that's for treasure. Oh, our encounters aren't happening. 2. That's not working. Let's do this. Let's go Kobold Fight Club. Maybe this is why I prefer Kobold Fight Club. No, Donjon's usually pretty good. That just didn't work out that way. So this is. There we go. Expand that out. So now you have your map, you have your campaign story figured out. All that's left is clicking the wrong screen thing. There we go. All that's left is going to be you're going to figure out your actual encounters for your campaign, and you say, all right, we got 3 level 1 heroes. Let's start with an easy encounter. 8 homunculuses sounds weird and fun. A wizard traveling through town crashes their cart, and like cracks their head, and don't let the homunculuses get away. They're cursed. And then it's like, ah! And like that's your intro encounter is 8 homunculus, which are CR0 creatures. This isn't going to be a deadly encounter, but that'll grease the wheels on how everybody's features work. That even actually bumped in the medium because of how the thing went. Random medium, a swarm of ravens, and an axebeak. An axebeak working as like an alpha bird to this swarm of ravens. Sounds rad, and that could be something they hit on the just outside of town on the road. Maybe birds picking at a meal on the side of the road or something. And a hard encounter, 8 badgers. This sounds like a great We Make Camp encounter, where there's like, what's that sound? Something in the ground, and then badger. Cue the millennials know the like badger. Look it up; it's amazing. And a random deadly, a magma method, and 2 merfolk. I don't know how I would make that work, so let's random it again. Drow, pterodon, and sturge. Like a drow falconer, essentially, that uses like Underdark and unique creatures. Sure, they're out in the field that you're passing by. These don't have to be combat encounters, always. That's just generally a rule. But you could make this a sort of a forced encounter where this falconer is using these unique flying creatures to harass passing wagons and whatnot. There you go. Yeah. And that's generally how I like to set up a series of encounters. I just go easy, medium, hard, deadly, and then have them set up in a and however it goes. I like a really fast level progression compared to a lot of people, probably every couple of sessions. Just because people got characters they want to play, so let them play their characters that they want to play. So you got to get through a campaign, and I know, cat. So that's just me personally. I like having a little faster level progression. And then when you get to level 2, which maybe you got to the coastal city by then, let's get into another easy. A giant lizard and a panther. Sure. One of those, you're looking at me, kind of encounters where you have the Mos Eisley, the Star Wars encounter of like, my friend doesn't like you. I don't like you either. And then they get their crap wrecked by the heroes. 5 awakened shrubs and an ice method. No idea how to make that work. Aarakocra, riding horse, a smoke method. Now, one thing you can do is just say, like, those don't make sense, but Aarakocras, sure. So 3 base, like, Aarakocras. Probably pirates who live near the shore. They, your party gets on the rowboat to get out to the sailing ship that they need to use to actually get over to the island, and then a trio of Aarakocra are swooping in. Give us your coin and we won't get you wet. Aarakocras with a pirate accent is always fun. And hard. We just did Aarakocras, and I never fight flumps because I picture them as like extra planar cuddly buddies. Acolytes and a giant seahorse. I don't know how that's gonna work. And you can just do this. You just click this thing till you get it how it's gonna be. A flying sword, a satyr, and a dust method. Now I don't know what the dust method's doing, but satyrs sound cool. So say 2 satyrs. Does two flying swords makes it deadly. So we'll just give it the 1. So a pair of satyrs maybe are on the boat wanting to move contraband, and this flying sword included and then they hear that these adventurers are after Bresceto, Bresceto, B, whoever this is, the elf entertainer. They're taking the Erig, and they're like, "Oh, you're screwing over one of Eric's contacts. Eric's one of our contacts," and now they have a reason to try to ambush you in a storeroom on the boat. Be like, "Oh no, this flying sword just went crazy," as they also are pulling swords out. That's a hard and deadly, and find something that makes some sense here. Monodrones in the middle of the ocean sounds weird. You can also go from any environment to switch it up a little bit. Crocodile, giant frog, Kuotoa. That sounds like a raiding party to me. You get close to the island, and there is a population that lives in, partly out in the reef. You can always reskin the things that you don't think make sense. Crocodile, giant frogs can be anything. I think those make fine sense. An ocean crocodile is in the water. The Kuotoas are riding up on these giant frogs, which they're using to try to kick people into the water so that this big old crocodile can make attacks in the water. You set up your little boat map, and there you go. You got your encounter. So right there, we just went through 2 levels progressions of encounters set up. You've got a good 3 or 4 sessions right there, ready to go. You got your campaign map. You've got everybody's characters tied together. You've got encounters at every difficulty level. That was just real quick of me just thinking off the top of my head of how they would make sense. And you saw me cycle. If something doesn't make sense, just cycle it to the next one. It's just for inspiration. And we have interesting encounters. Kitty! I know, but I'm not... Don't interrupt me. Okay. Cat's upset about something. Ooh. Alright. Gift to Gabby. Sorry I didn't see your message earlier. I would love to hear about your homebrew race. Yeah, there you go. It's not as intimidating as it is sometimes made out to be. That you need to do so much work to make a homebrew campaign. It's, oh my gosh, I could never overcome that amount of preparation. And that was maybe an hour? Maybe an hour? And that's prepped for... you might go through and find some random... you might go back into Donjon and decide, you know what? I don't just need random generators. I need some. I need the random treasure. Okay, so challenge rating 1, treasure hoard. That's what I like to do. Let me get this screen set back to positions that make sense. All right, so. Treasure hoard for our CR1, meaning our level 1 treasure hoard. That's how I kind of like to do it. A level 1 treasure hoard, this is what you will get, and I'll just spread it out. I'll just split it up into the different encounters. These are the things you will find doing these, kitty. These are the things you will find over the course of your level 1 set of encounters. Here you go. There's 2,300 copper, 600 silver, 100 gold pieces, this carved wooden staff, some iron dice, a silk vest with silver thread, fine cloth, tabard, I'd have to look up what that is, a pewter staff, an amulet of proof against detection and location, a magic item, that's cool, a +1 weapon. Now it says net. I'm not gonna make it a +1 net. But you can if you want. And if you want to make it truly random and then populate your put a magic item shop, in the thing. That they can be like, hey, I got this magic net, but none of us use a net. And it's just like, oh, I will buy that net and you can look through my wares for something to trade for. That's fine. I would just honestly just swap that out for something more useful. So your what we had a barbarian and a fighter. I think the barbarian in the descriptor used like a rapier and a shield, and then the fighter used like a great sword. Now a magic weapon at level 1. Now even going from level 1 to level 2, a +1 weapon at level 2 is, yeah, that's nothing to slouch at. Maybe make it a something not super useful. You know, you don't want to break your campaign on the level 1 treasure. You know, make it maybe the quarterstaff. Monks fall behind pretty quickly on damage in the campaigns. So just make it you make it a +1 short sword. That way, which I think monks can use a short sword. And or you could make it a quarterstaff, but yeah, but just make it like a you know, whatever monk weapon, or make it like a backup weapon. So say the fighter uses it has like a backup like short bow or long bow. You want them to have a little better chance at some range stuff, so you make it a +1 longbow, and they can use it. There you go. So you have your level 1 treasure, your level 2 treasure. This is all potions. I find potions a little boring sometimes. I almost always swap them out for unique items. Let's see here. But yeah, alright, here we go. So, in that boat, kind of on the way there, they've accumulated, 1,500 copper, 1,500 silver, 90 gold pieces, these various gems of 10 gold piece values, and a potion of healing. That's what they've accumulated over their level 2, and then they've got those 2 combined treasure hoards going on to Pirate Island at level 3, and then you'll make some level 3 encounters and all that. But in an hour, you've got a campaign map, a campaign plot that they're following, and then stuff will emerge from there as you make random NPCs and random other stuff, and you'll figure it out from there. Well, where do we go from here? Now you're on like a pirate island with like trade going from in and out of everywhere. I don't know. Maybe that female dragonborn peasant that was the foe up on Wyna's stuff has maybe there's a plot. Maybe they're spotted in clothing befitting nobility over on this island, and now that's yeah, there you go. Now we're tied in. It's tied together. That's our tie-in. So on the conclusion of this, you are going to find Lysil on the island. And now that you find Lysil on the island in noble clothes, you wait, that's the peasant. That's the peasant who was always causing problems for my craftswoman friend, up in Null. Like, what are they doing here? And why are they dressed in that clothes? Like, here we go. Continuing of the campaign, going on from that. So that's you get to level 3, you're finding Erig, who however they did on their, like, skill checks and stuff, and their travels, to get there. Maybe you've kept track of survival checks they've made, and, like, over and under of a certain threshold is adding or subtracting a day of their overall travel time, and if they get over a certain amount of days, the transaction has already occurred. Breshto is long gone, and Erig has the artifact, and now you need to do something for Erig to get it, handed back over. Or if you don't want to do it more of that objective style, where like the skill checks matter for what will happen in the plot, you can just say you you see them meet and exchange bags, and then they leave, and you can go after one or the other. You can go after the one who did the crime, and like get him, or you can go after her, the merchant who has the thing, and then that's a decision for your party. And then if you split the party, then it's time to have another urban encounter that one person by themselves is not super prepared for, and will want to use a disengage action to try to make their way back over to their new friends who can back them up. But yeah, that's there you go. I look forward to making another version of this exact same video that is a little less ranty, and maybe a third version of actual in practice with the group the next time I'm starting a campaign. Yeah, there you go. Player focused. Not too much prep. Not a ton of reading. You're not overwhelming amount of preparation or improv or creativity involved. Just a good solid campaign. You're good to go. All right. Looks like Gifty Gabby had to head out, so that's too bad. I'll talk to them later. All right. I think I might upload this to the YouTube. And there we go. All right. See you later.